Welcome. This is British National Party Television, outside the offices of the Crown Prosecution Service. Now we're joined here today by Mrs Charlene Downes, who is the mother of Charlene, who, as many of our viewers will be aware, unfortunately went missing about 10 years ago. Many believe she was murdered by two Muslim paedophiles. Now we came here today to see Mr Nazir Afzal, the Chief Crown Prosecutor for the area. And we were waiting for the chairman of the British National Party to arrive, who was going to enter the offices with us, when suddenly Mr Afzal emerged from the offices, and we seized the opportunity and managed to get an interview. And you can watch that interview right now. This is British National Party Television. We were wondering why you didn't respond to our...
I've sent it to my headquarters, they're going to deal with it, so when they've dealt with it...
Well we've got Karen here now. Karen is the mother of Charlene.
Yes, I know, I'm aware of Charlene Downes.
Well, why, could you tell us now why you haven't granted a retrial?
There's no retrial, the police have to carry out the investigation. When they've completed the investigation, then they have to submit it to us. So
but they have done that already,
but they haven't completed the investigation, so when they complete the investigation...
So are you saying to us now that they are doing another investigation?
No, any inquiry involving a missing child or a homicide has to be, is never closed, so they will have to continue to carry out the investigation. What I suggest to, I haven't said to you personally, but I would say to you personally, it is something you take up with Lancashire Police. The moment that they've carried out the investigation, they will then submit the papers to us. As soon as they do that, I'll take it. It's not
another question.
Let me
did a report. When they did the investigation into Charlene's disappearance,
yes,
they discovered that there was a Muslim paedophile cartel operating in Blackpool, which involved the abuse of up to 60 children. 11 takeaways where they state that it was just the workers and the owners of these takeaways that were involved, and none of these people have been prosecuted or brought to trial.
I can tell you what's been happening since 2010, 11 since I've been here. As you undoubtedly know, I was the one who brought the Rothschild prosecution. I've dealt with the Bolton prosecution. I've dealt with the Burnley prosecution. I will take Nobody should tell me that I'm not taking this matter seriously. So any issues in relation to grooming gangs or the like, these are things that I deal with on a regular basis. But I can't do that without the evidence. The evidence comes from the police. So anything that the police aren't doing, people need to take action.
Well, this seems to contradict what was quoted in the Daily Mail, where in the Lavelle case, where it was said that was brought because the victim's mother made a complaint that she wanted the case looked at again, and the CPS spokesman said that the complaint should be made to the CPS. Now, would you like to make a formal complaint to Mr Afzal?
Yes, I would.
And ask you to reconsider this case? This woman is devastated.
I can't tell you how devastating it must be. I mean, if you lose a child,
especially in these circumstances,
in any circumstances, it must be tragic and devastating. There is a process. The process is the police have to carry out an investigation. Once they've carried out an investigation, they have to submit the evidence to us. If they don't do that, then there's nothing we can do.
But they must have done that in order for you to mount a trial in the first place.
They did previously. I wasn't there. I wasn't even here at that time. My perspective is that there were some issues which the judge had in relation to the evidence that was produced, and that's the reason why the trial was stopped. Now, if there is fresh evidence, if there is evidence that we can look at, then we will look at it.
If we submit evidence to you, there are reasons to believe that members of the jury knew the people who were being prosecuted, would you then reconsider the matter?
Again, it doesn't come to me. It has to go to the police. I can't carry out...
You don't seem to be really grasping this.
No,
you don't mind me saying so, but 10 years.
No, I accept what you say. Can I assure you this? One of the very first things that I did when I came up here was to look at the Chantal case, because I'd been aware that something was amiss. Particularly Charlene's case. I was very much aware that there was something amiss in that case. I wanted to find out more about it. I asked the police for more. I continue to ask the police for more. If there comes a time when there is sufficient evidence for me to look at it, I'll look at it.
So you're saying now on camera that you are willing to look at this again if some more evidence is presented
Absolutely.
to you?
We do that. I've told the police this. twice, 3 times, I think, in the last 2.5 years. If there is more evidence, it's something that we will look at afresh.
Or if there's some evidence that the jury was in some way.
Anything that impacts on the decisions in this case is something we'll look at afresh.
Well, that's very good. Thank you for talking to us.
All the best. Thank you.
We are now joined by the chairman of the British National Party, Mr Nick Griffin MEP. And Mr Griffin has seen the video of us interviewing Mr Afzal. He unfortunately wasn't here in time to see Mr Afzal himself, but he has seen the video, and I'm just now going to ask him what he thought of it. What do you think, Mr Griffin?
Well, I think first of all the fact that he was actually very composed, very civil and so on, is a reflection on him personally, fair play, but I think it makes it particularly valuable what he said towards the end of the interview when he saw, it was one of the first cases he looked at when he took over up here in the northwest, and that he realised straight away there was something amiss with this case. I think that's quite a remarkable admission to get, and that we take that back now to the police and say, look, your most senior lawyer in the northwest of England has said he saw straight away there was something wrong with this. Now we know the kinds of things I think that were wrong with this case. The police, the whole police handling the investigation, and in particular the fact that it's common knowledge in Blackpool the jury was corrupted by members of the jury knowing the defendants. I think he knows that, and really allows us now to push with the police to say, right, do something about it. I know he said this case is never closed. It's never closed, but it's sat in a dusty corner somewhere in the file. Get that file out and work on it.
So you think the next step is get to the police?
I think the next step is to get to the police, and also to step up as well as that now parallel, because he's saying there's something seriously amiss with how they handled it. When you consider how grotesquely serious this case is, with Charlene and the other girls involved in this very large Muslim paedophile ring, which is really acknowledged was there at the time. So, back to our old demand, a public inquiry, because when the head of the Crown Prosecution Service for the whole area is saying this was amiss, and when it's had such an appalling impact on a family, and a terrible impact also on an untold number of other girls and their families, well, they have public inquiries at the drop of a hat. If it's a member of an ethnic minority who's been let down by the police, sometimes they are let down by the police, and under those circumstances a public inquiry may well be correct, and it's sure as hell correct in this case. So I'd say public inquiry now.
Thank you very much for speaking to us, Mr Griffin. Thank you.